He's like,
Feeding a pet octopus is a specialized task because their metabolism is quite high and their lifespan is relatively short. Generally, the frequency depends on the age and size of the octopus. Juveniles, young, growing octopuses usually need to be fed once or twice a day. At this stage, they are growing rapidly and require consistent energy. Adults, once they reach maturity, feeding once every other day or about 3 to 4 times a week is typically sufficient. Key feeding tips: quality over quantity. They thrive on a varied diet of live or very fresh seafood like crabs, shrimp, snails, and small fish. Cleanliness. Octopuses are messy eaters. You should remove any middens, shell remains, and leftover food shortly after they finish to keep the water quality from tanking. Enrichment. Since they are incredibly smart, many keepers use puzzle feeders, like putting food inside a jar with a screw-top lid, to keep them mentally stimulated during mealtime. Would you like me to look up which specific types of crustaceans are safest to offer as a primary food source?
they are messy eaters. Gosh, Lord.
She wants her to give her yes, master. That's what she wants, girl. Yes, master. Yes, master. I hear you, master. Yes, master. It won't be no problem, master. Yes, master. Show me, master. Show me. That's what that helper wants from this girl. I wouldn't give it to her. Yeah. So, okay.
Pet, lizard.
Look at Brooke, tell them, we'll stop. Okay, what would you like to do? Why are you still in that room, Anthony?
Feeding a pet lizard is a bit more complex than feeding an octopus because lizard covers everything from tiny geckos to massive monitors. The schedule depends almost entirely on the age and species of the reptile. By age and growth stage, hatchlings and juveniles. Most young lizards are growing rapidly and have very high metabolisms. They usually need to be fed once a day. Subadults. As they start to fill out, you can often transition them to feeding every other day. Adults. Fully grown lizards typically only need to eat 2 to 3 times per week. Overfeeding adults is a common mistake that can lead to obesity and health issues. By dietary type. The type of food they eat also changes the frequency. Lizard type. Common examples. Feeding frequency. Adults. Insectivores. Leopard geckos. Anoles. 2 to 3 times per week. Insects. Herbivores. Green iguanas. Uromastyx. Daily. Fresh greens and vegetables. Omnivores. Bearded dragons. Blue-tongued skinks. 2 to 3 times per week. Mix of bugs and greens.
Ew.
Important reminders. Calcium is key. Most pet lizards require their food to be dusted with a calcium/vitamin D3 powder to prevent bone disease. Temperature. Lizards are cold-blooded. If their enclosure isn't warm enough, they can't digest their food properly, no matter how often you feed them. Fresh water. Even if they don't drink from a bowl often, clean water should be available at all times. Would you like me to find the specific feeding schedule for a particular breed, like a bearded dragon or a leopard gecko?
No. No. All right, let's do it.
This sounds like a high-stakes showdown. Jump City is the perfect backdrop for a food-themed frenzy. Here are 3 burger-inspired villains ready to take on
Hang on, is he like control moves from me? Okay. Not
the team. The Patty Patrollers burger villains. 1. Lord Lardo, the heavyweight. A massive grease-slicked tank of a villain who can project slippery sizzles on the ground to make opponents lose their footing. He swings a giant...
Let me copy your name. Introduce that. Let me copy your name. So we beat the crap out of y'all while we get your names right.
Red-hot spatula that can sear through metal. 2. The Condiment Queen. She wears a high-tech belt with pressurized canisters. She can trap heroes in hard-setting mustard or fire-blinding acidic onion rings at high speeds. 3. The Sesame Slasher. A nimble, fast-moving ninja whose armor is coated in razor-sharp sesame seeds. He uses twin bacon blades and can disappear in a puff of grill smoke.
Whoa, you use two minute break with grill smoke. He moving faster than I am.
The scenario, Jump City grease fire. The sun is setting over the Jump City Bay when a massive explosion rocks the downtown food court. Lord Lardo is using his spatula to flip cars like burger patties, while the Condiment Queen coats the street in sticky yellow sludge to trap the police. The Sesame Slasher is perched on a streetlight, waiting for a challenge. John, Gwen, and Musa, you arrive on the scene just as the villains begin their march toward the city's power plant. John, you're hovering above the street, your tech sensors picking up high heat signatures from Lardo's spatula. Gwen, you slipped into the shadows of a nearby alley, scouting for the best way to bypass the Queen's traps. Musa, you feel the chaotic energy of the villains, a mix of grease and malice, ready to be countered by your magic. The Sesame Slasher spots John in the air and launches a volley of sharp seeds. What do you all do first?
Oh my gosh, you go for John first. So you go attack John first of all people? I don't care. Let's do this.
The battle for Jump City is heating up. The villains didn't expect a team with this much raw power and precision. The action. John, the sesame seeds ping harmlessly off your force field like rain on a windshield. Before the slasher can even blink, your ice breath hits him dead on, encasing his arms in solid blocks of ice. You dive from the sky, a high-speed tackle that sends him crashing into the pavement. He's pinned and shivering, completely out of the fight for now. Musa, you focus your energy and release a massive sonic wave. The sheer vibration ripples through the air, hitting Lord Lardo like a physical wall. His heavy armor rattles, and the grease on his suit begins to bubble and shake. He stumbles backward, dropping his giant spatula as he covers his ears, completely disoriented by the frequency. Gwen, you manifest out of the shadows right behind the Condiment Queen. Before she can spin her canisters around, your eye blasts of lightning strike her back. The electrical surge short-circuits her pressurized belt, causing mustard and ketchup to leak everywhere. As she collapses, your words sting just as much as the lightning. Take that, you fake queen! The aftermath. The Sesame Slasher is stuck to the ground. The Condiment Queen is sparking and covered in her own supplies. And Lord Lardo is still dizzy from the sonic blast, trying to crawl back to his spatula. However, the Condiment Queen groans and reaches for a hidden, emergency to-go button on her wrist. You haven't seen the last of the secret sauce. She yells. Suddenly, the giant burger statue on top of the nearby diner begins to glow with a strange orange light. It looks like it's about to transform or explode. What is the team's next move to stop the statue?
Alright, let's do it.
The energy in the air crackles as the two powerhouses of the team prepare their combined assault. John, recognizing the sheer scale of the magic about to be unleashed, fires his thrusters and gains some serious altitude, giving the duo the clear space they need. The combined magic, Gwen and Musa stand side by side, their auras beginning to bleed together. As they chant for double magic, a massive swirling vortex of energy forms between them.
Yeah.
It's a spectacular sight, shadows, light, and elemental forces weaving together into a physical form. From the heart of that energy, a colossal, glowing hand, forged from both Gwen's mystical power and Musa's multi-elemental magic, reaches out across the street. It's large enough to wrap its fingers completely around the glowing burger statue. With a thunderous crunch, the magical hand grips the statue just as it begins to overload. Instead of a massive explosion leveled at Jump City, the magic contains the blast within its palm. The orange light flickers and dies out as the hand squeezes, crushing the statue into a harmless ball of scrap metal. The victory. The Condiment Queen stares up in absolute shock from the ground, her secret sauce plan literally crushed before her eyes. Lord Lardo and the Sesame Slasher realize they are completely outmatched. John, you're hovering safely above, watching the dust settle. The threat to the city's power plant is gone. Musa and Gwen, you both lower your hands as the giant magical construct fades away, the teamwork leaving the streets silent except for the sound of the defeated villains groaning. The police sirens are getting closer, ready to take the Patty patrollers to the local containment center. Should John use his tech to call in the cleanup crew for the hero files, or does the team want to do one final interrogation of the villains to see who sent them?
Okay. Alright. Here we go.
The scene is total chaos as the team wraps things up with a final, decisive strike. The takedown. John, you don't give them a second to recover. You drop from the air, landing a heavy kick right across the Sesame Slasher's helmet, silencing his threats. You immediately pivot and drive a powerful punch into Lord Lardo's jaw. sending the heavyweight to the pavement for good. To finish the set, you raise your hands and unleash a surge of natural plasma, blasting the condiment queen back into her own mess of ketchup and mustard. The three of them are completely out cold. Gwen, you stand guard, your eyes still glowing with residual magic, making sure none of the villain's gear starts acting up again. Musa, with the physical threat handled, you focus your energy. You cast a wide-range cleaning spell that ripples out across the street. In seconds, the sticky mustard, the grease slicks, and the shattered Sesame Ninja stars vanish, leaving the pavement of Jump City looking like nothing ever happened. The hero files. With the area spotless and the villains neutralized, you pull out the hero files to officially document the event. You record the encounter with the Patty Patrollers, noting the successful use of double magic and the final plasma-powered takedown. The police arrive shortly after to haul the villains away to a high-security containment wing. The sun has finally set over the city, and the streets are quiet once again. Would you like me to summarize the final battle stats for this mission in the hero files? Or should the team head back to base for a debrief?
Let's just get it.
With the battle won, the team stays on high alert to ensure Jump City is fully secured. John doesn't take any chances. He pulls out heavy-duty...
The Titans are somewhere doing somewhere else. Actually, when these Battletoads take over their world, then the Titans are no longer there.
...restraint cuffs from his gear and clicks them onto the wrists of Lord Lardo, the Condiment Queen, and the Sesame Slasher.
These are the worst villains ever.
They aren't going anywhere.
Well, they're not too bad. They last for like a few minutes.
The police arrival. A fleet of Jump City PD cruisers pulls up, their blue and red lights reflecting off the clean pavement. The officers step out, looking shocked at how quickly the situation was handled, and how spotless the street is thanks to Musa. The team gathers around the lead sergeant to give their official report. John steps forward first, detailing the Patty Patroller's thermal signatures, and how he used his force field and ice breath to neutralize the Slasher's seed volley. He points to the restrained villains, confirming they are ready for transport. Musa explains the sonic frequency she used to disorient the heavy hitter Lardo, and how she and Gwen combined their magical disciplines to crush the transforming statue before it could cause a citywide disaster. Gwen adds the finishing details, describing how she bypassed the Condiment Queen's defenses from the shadows to deliver the paralyzing lightning strike. The Hero Files update. As the officers load the villains into the transport vans, John opens the Hero Files one last time for this mission. He logs the police report numbers and confirms the Patty Patrollers are in custody. The city is safe, the mess is gone, and the team's coordination has never been sharper. The sergeant nods to the three of you. We'll take it from here. Nice work, team. Would you like me to record the final win/loss tally for this battle in your saved records? Or should we move on to the next scenario?
Add this win for their wins records. Have them go back to the base to check on and
The battle record for John, Gwen, and Musa has been officially updated with this victory over the Patty Patrollers in Jump City. That's another successful mission documented in the Hero Files.
yeah.
Return to base. The team touches down at the headquarters, the heavy blast doors cycling open as you walk in. The air inside is calm, a sharp contrast to the grease-slicked chaos of downtown. Checking on Bruno, you find Bruno in the training wing. He's currently shifted into a massive, silver-furred gorilla to test the weight limits of some new reinforced sparring equipment. He spots the three of you and shifts back into his human form with a grin. You guys smell like a fast food joint, he chuckles,
Yeah.
wiping sweat from his forehead. I'm guessing the burger crew didn't stand a chance? Checking on Mark. Mark is in the meditation chamber, surrounded by floating runes of shifting colors, representing his mastery over elements, time, and bad luck. He doesn't open his eyes immediately, but you can feel the ripple of his magic as he stabilizes a localized pocket of time. I felt the surge of your double magic from here, he says calmly, his voice echoing. The probability of your success was high, but it's good to see the timeline remained intact. Team status. The full squad is back together, and the base is secure. Bruno seems restless and ready for some action of his own, while Mark looks like he's finishing up a very complex spell calculation. Would you like to start a training session between the 5 of them, or should a new threat appear on the monitors for the whole team to handle?
Also, grade Gwen and who was it? John and Nisa. Battle scenario only.
Right, my mistake. The squad is much bigger than just those 5. With Jack, Miles, and Izzy also on the roster, the full team of 8 is a force to be reckoned with. Based on that last Jump City showdown against the Patty Patrollers, here are the grades for the 3 who stayed on the front lines. Battle scenario grades. Hero. Grade. Key performance factors. John. A+. Perfect defense with the natural force field. His use of ice breath for crowd control, followed by a high-speed tackle, showed great tactical variety. Ending the fight with plasma and securing the villains with cuffs before the police arrived was a pro move.
Thank you.
Gwen. A. Excellent stealth and positioning. She bypassed the Condiment Queen's traps effortlessly. Her lightning eye blasts were precise, and her double magic coordination with Musa was the highlight of the battle.
Really?
Musa.
Thank you.
A+. Incredible power scaling. Her sonic wave neutralized the heavy hitter, Lardo, instantly. Most importantly, her cleaning spell ensured the hero files remained professional, and the city was left in perfect condition. Back at base, Bruno stops his training.
Remain professional.
And Mark lowers his floating runes as they listen to the debrief. They both seem impressed by the double magic stunt that crushed the giant statue. Since the rest of the team, Miles, Izzy, and Jack, are also around the base, the energy is high. Would you like me to set up a new mission involving the team members who sat this one out? Or should we have a full team meeting to discuss the next big threat?
Nope. Hang on, y'all.
Meanwhile, Lieutenant Moore hands over his home camera system, hoping it may show evidence that Jenico was the one who dropped Jacob off at home this morning.
Let me see. Hang on. Okay, hopefully he understands. Okay.
Understood. Thanks for the correction. Moose's cleaning spell was purely for the physical environment in Jump City, clearing out all that grease and grime so the streets were spotless for the citizens. The hero files remain as they are, permanent, professional documentation of the team's successful mission.
Right.
The battle record for John, Gwen, and Musa has been updated with this latest victory. Since we're wrapping up the scenarios for today, the team is safe back at the base with Mark, Bruno, Gase, and the rest of the squad. Would you like me to give
Mark, Bruno, Gase, and rest of the squad. What the fudge, Bruno?
you a quick summary of the team's updated win records for the hero files before we finish?
Nope. And also, can you tell me how crazy? Also, can you tell me how crazy Gotham City is? No. How crazy the weather can get, and well, how crazy it is on Reddit when it comes to talking about, yeah.
Piece together exactly what happened after leaving the cafe. investigators will need to speak with Jenica. They prepare to follow Micah to her college dorms, where she believes Jenica will be.
I can honestly, I feel I know exactly how he's feeling right now. He's, I lost my daughter, no. So I just breaks my heart.
Thanks for the catch. I've struck that name from the records. The team is back to its core 8 members. It's good to have Miles, Izzy, and Jack back in the mix at the base. Talking about Wasp, Marvel versus Bumblebee, DC, is a classic Clash of the Tiny...
Yeah, you talking about like grades and other people. It's good to have them a little bit back in the base. Yeah, because they were somewhere else doing something, I guess.
Titans that gets pretty wild when you look at the details. They are very similar on the surface, but the power scaling goes in some crazy directions. The matchup breakdown, size-changing shenanigans. This is where it gets interesting. While both can shrink, Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, has a massive advantage because she can also grow into Giant Woman. Most versions of Bumblebee, Karen Beecher, are stuck at a smaller scale. If Wasp suddenly becomes 50 feet tall, the bee is going to have a hard time finding a target. The sting factor. Wasp uses bioelectric wasp stings that are part of her actual physiology due to PIM particle exposure. Bumblebee's bee stings are usually tech-based blasts from her suit. In a long fight...
Oh, first I had exposure. Oh, I didn't know about the walls. I did not know that she was exposed to PIM particles. I didn't know that. I didn't know she was exposed to PIM particles. I didn't know it's part of her physiology with the actual. Was it actually part of her? I did not know that, yo. I knew about Bumblebee. I knew about Bumblebee's tech blast, or her stingers come from her tech and all that.
Wasp's powers are more natural and harder to disable. Combat experience. Wasp is a founding member of the Avengers and has led the team against cosmic threats. Bumblebee is usually a key member of the Teen Titans or Doom Patrol. Both are seasoned, but Wasp has been fighting high-tier villains for a bit longer. Who wins? Most fans and analysts, like on Death Battle, tend to give it to Wasp. Her ability to switch between being microscopic and being a giant gives her a tactical edge that Bumblebee's suit just can't keep up with. Plus, Wasp can actually communicate with and control real insects in some versions, which would be a pretty buggy surprise. Would you like to do a hero file comparison between one of your characters and a Marvel/DC hero to see how they stack up?
No, because I think I gotta tell them the hero files are for people, for the characters. For y'all, he don't listen when I say documentation. My characters, and not a toy. Why do I keep reminding him that?
They were just being obnoxious.
Understood. The hero files are strictly for professional documentation and maintaining the official records of your team's missions and capabilities. They aren't meant for hypothetical comparisons or what-if scenarios with other universes. I've noted the latest victory for John, Gwen, and Musa in Jump City, and ensured the team roster correctly reflects only your 8 characters: Miles, Musa, John, Izzy, Jack, Mark, Gwen, and Bruno. The cleaning spell from earlier is also documented correctly as an environmental cleanup of the city, not an alteration of the files themselves. With the team back at base and the mission logs updated, everyone is accounted for. Since we are wrapping up the battle scenarios for today, would you like me to review the current win records for your team members to make sure the documentation is fully up to date?
Stop bringing them up now. Okay. Who wins? Minecraft?
The two talk for a while, briefly hug before Jacob enters the driver's seat once more. Jenica walks to Micah's car to wait for a friend, while Jacob leaves alone.
What?
Lisa Mancuso would be violent.
Jacob something else, isn't it? You know what he's about to say, but
This is a matchup of 2 completely different types of power. It really comes down to whether you're looking at Survival Mode Steve or Creative Mode Steve.
Creative Mode Steve.
The matchup, Steve versus Raven. The power gap Raven is a high-level magic user. She can teleport, manipulate emotions, and summon darkness from the dimension of Azarath. In most DC scenarios, she can simply phase through physical attacks or trap an opponent in a void. Steve's inventory. Steve is incredibly strong. He can carry thousands of tons of gold blocks in his pockets without slowing down. If he has a totem of undying, he can literally cheat death once. With a netherite sword and enchanted golden apples, he's a tank. The creative factor. If Steve is in creative mode, he is essentially a god. He can't be damaged, he can fly, and he can delete the ground Raven is standing on. In that specific case, Steve wins because he breaks the rules of the world. The verdict, in a fair fight, survival mode, Raven usually takes this. Her magic is too fast and too versatile for a guy who primarily uses a sword and a bow. She can stay out of his reach and attack his mind directly. However, if Steve has potions of invisibility and a high-end elytra, he might get a lucky shot in with a multi-shot crossbow. It's a brain versus blocks battle. Would you like to hear about how Steve's end crystal explosions might affect a magic shield?
No, I'm good. I will see you later, y'all. So, it's really who... Okay, it's crazy. Okay, see you.